All right, Austin Prock, they say it's best to get hot at the right time. One race before the U.S. Nationals, one race before the start of the countdown. You guys are really starting to figure this thing out. How good does it feel getting to head back into U.S. Nationals with this car right back where you need it to be?
It feels good. Coming off a win, coming into the U.S. Nationals is definitely a lot better spot than we were last year. Last year we came in here after a second-round loss in Brainerd, and we turned it around at the right time and ended up getting the victory here. So we obviously feel good. We'd like to. We would have liked to test before coming into the U.S. Nationals. We tried in Brainerd. It got rained out, and we were going to test today again here in Indy, and the track just wasn't up to our standards. So we still got a great race car, but we'll be ready to go next week, and hopefully we'll test before Reading.
Coming into this event, this one's going to be a little bit different from you from the last time you were here. Now that you are a part of those U.S. Nationals Winners Club, how much different does it feel walking into this event knowing now that you're part of that club of racers who have won at Indy compared to when you were coming here in the past and not still wanting to win this event?
Yeah, last year was really the first time I ever had success here at the U.S. Nationals. I think I went to the semifinals one time in 2019 prior to that, and the rest of them, I believe, were first-round losses. So it definitely felt good to add my name to that list. But every weekend I come into a race, you got to turn all that noise off and just go to work, put your helmet on and get honed in and stay focused. And, when I do that, I seem to drive pretty well.
Something that I've noted over the last few weeks, especially back at Brainerd, something about this season just seems different with you guys. Not so much the way you're handling things, but it just feels a lot looser and more enjoyable for you guys. Seems like a weight's been lifted off your shoulder. Do you agree with that? Is that something that you are feeling? Because we saw even the spanking video you guys posted on social media, it just seems like you're having a lot more fun this year than you even did the year prior.
Yeah, I think we had a lot of fun last year. Last year it was all new and exciting. I would come in there as a rookie, and there was a lot of the year was a blur. I was just trying to keep my head above water and go out there and perform. And this year, I think it's probably a little bit more serious in the pits. Honestly, I think that our social media team does an outstanding job with our platforms and do a really good job of seeing that we can have fun at the racetrack. But it's all business in the pits, and it's been a little bit tougher this year than it was last year. The race cars aggravated us a little bit, and we have had some of those first round losses where we didn't really last year. So we've been hard at work, and everything's clicking right now. And obviously, when it's clicking, it does look fun and exciting from the outside.
Heading into this countdown this year, last year it was pretty much your own way for you. You were just far and ahead, head and shoulders above the rest of the field. This year, we're seeing J.R. Todd start to click things. We saw back at Brainerd. We're seeing Paul Lee, whatever changes they're making to the supercharger is finally starting to get figured out. Cruz over there starting to turn things around after a struggle start to the season. Who are you really looking towards heading into this countdown that's going to be that guy that might give you a run, since you're now going to lose that 200-point advantage that you built up over the regular season?
Yeah, I think that everybody's performance has stepped up, but we still have about the same lead in the point standing as we did last year, which says a lot about this race team. Everybody stepped their performance up, but we still have had that little bit of an edge on them when it counts. So I think we're rolling into the U.S. Nationals with a 242-point lead, which is pretty close to what we had last year. But everybody they're getting closer and closer to us, and I believe that there's going to be probably 4 or 5 cars that could contend with us during the countdown. It really stings losing a lead like that, but we just got to keep our heads down and keep doing what we do and keep doing what we've been doing, because that's what's got us to this point. That's what's got us that 242-point advantage, and if we continue that, I think we can have another go at a world championship.
All right, Cruz, week before the U.S. Nationals, people talk about, this is just another event. This is no big deal. If someone who's been around this sport a long time, someone who appreciates the history of the sport, very well as much as everybody else in this pit. Even though they can lie and say that, it's not just any other race. Just kind of explain what this race means to you and your team.
Well, the prestige of it. If you go back, like you said, I know the history. I used to listen to Dave McClellan way back before there was even internet talk about the race and the recap and just the excitement excitement about this particular race. If you look at the videos, Perdome, Garlitz, Muldowney, all the greats won this race, and they made it a marquee event. The fans, the fact that it was a week long, and just everything about it. I'm glad that they have the tower to go along with the event. Having a shipping container down here didn't quite get the job done, but no, it's I remember the first time I was telling these guys earlier when I won it in '92 against Del Worsham in the final. I remember when I saw that win light in the McDonald's car, it just gave me this feeling I've never had, even though I had won other races. The U.S. Nationals meant so much, so I've been able to win it 2 more times, 3 times in total, and man, I sure like to win that sucker a 4th time, because it would put me in, the Ed McCullough, Perdome, and some elite drivers. So yeah, it's the fact that we're all from here now, we all live. Well, I don't live here full time, but most of the time my team lives here. It just adds to it, because now you have families. I was telling the guys earlier, we get hit, as all team owners do, with ticket requests, because you have all the teams, all their wives, their kids, their girlfriends and whatnot. So yeah, it's a big event, and man, just looking forward to it.
You talk about wanting to win this event for a 4th time. This season looks like you have as much of a shot as you had any other years prior. The performance of this car was not that good at the start of the season, but as the season's progressed, we've really seen you guys turn that corner, and now we're starting to get back up there in qualifying and make those semifinal appearances. Where is the progress for that car's tuning aspect wise to where we're seeing you guys return back up to that top elite form that we saw you at one point?
I think Jason and I have developed, Jason Bunker, my crew chief, young guy, man, he's only 40, and he's one of those guys that's a smart guy. He knows the combination inside and out, and I think the fact that he and I have been able to work together and and really in the clutch area, the horsepower level of the car, it's been consistent. And I think the fact that we were together last year, I says, Jason, we can't have all these notes and have all this data and go off and veer off a different road, which we were doing early in the year. We kept, we would make 1 or 2 good runs, then we would get a new idea, a new trick, the week scenario, and we'd go a different way. And I said, Jason, we were at Seattle last year. We were at Sonoma, and we ran okay. We ran pretty good. Actually, last year here at Indy, we ran well. So let's really focus on utilizing our notes and our records from when we were already here, and use that as a way to get better. So he's bought into that, and the car at Brainerd made some good runs. I think we were 3rd on one of the sessions. Lost a really close race to Hagen in the 1st round. So, and the car burned some pistons on that run. So we feel like we can clean that up, get some fuel volume in it, and and go along with our clutch progress that we've made. Like I said, I think we've got a good shot.
One of the things you pointed to as well when I looked at your Instagram stories and social media posts was not just Norwalk, the national event, but Night Under Fire. You guys left that track with your heads held up high, knowing that you guys finally had something. How important were those 2 events in particular to getting you guys back up there running with the elite cars again?
Well, those events you just mentioned were key events, and then so I got to tell you, we go to the West Coast, and we had the wrong. This is crazy to say, but we actually had the wrong blower overdrive chart on our computer, and we didn't catch it until we had left that event. So that's a dirty little secret that nobody knows about, but I do want to share it with the fans that hey, sometimes the littlest thing can bite you, because to your point, if you say, hey, well, you guys had a semis and ran well at Norwalk, why did you go on the West Coast and have not a very good West Coast? Well, that was one of the main reasons. So we put it back like we know it can run. We go right to the Night Under Fire. Car runs 393, 392, and 388. And then we go 391 Saturday, 392, and 394 in Brainerd. So, the car has been, once we have and not have self-inflicting wounds, the car's really trying to run. And so we got a little deficit. We got to get down in the 80s a little heavier, which we are capable of doing. And so that's the plan.
Knowing now that those self-inflicting wounds have been corrected, and you know what this car is capable of. You talked about how good you were here last year. Does that kind of light a fire under you now heading into this event? Like, okay, we got something now. Now we know what we're doing with this car.
Well, it does. I know Austin Prock was talking about it earlier about motivating. And drivers get motivated when the better the car runs, the more motivated the driver is. So it's a little easier when the car can click off some real good times to get up in the seat and get your elbows up and do and sharpshoot like I like to say. And so I think all those things, the crew, we had one run we got thrown out because the latch was hasn't latched. So, just little things like that have bit us. But I think overall, if you look at our car, it's right there, and I just can't think of a better place to really unleash the dogs than here this weekend or next weekend at the U.S. Nationals.
All right, Antron Brown, you're up here in the new tower here at IRP. Bit of a new feeling, still got that new tower smell. How would you rate it on first appearance?
Oh man, I give it a 10 out of 10. I mean, this definitely captures the essence that Wally Parks always have, and being called the Wally Parks Tower, you can see it. It's tall, pristine, and is on point like Wally was. So, with that being said, I'm honored just to be here and see the way our sport's growing and the direction that it's going in.
You talk about the essence of Wally Park. This event, everything surrounding it, the history, the magistry, everything about this event is such a big deal. For people who may not understand that may be coming to this event for the first time, just explain what the importance of Indy is just for you guys in general, not just as a drag racing fan, but also a guy who gets to compete here every year.
I tell you what, the thing about it is when you come here for the U.S. Nationals is exactly what it is. It's the biggest drag race across the globe, not just in our country, across the globe. And to come here, and for one, you got to qualify for it. And once you qualify, you got to try to win the race. And if you win, you've done something spectacular, because everybody races this race as it's a championship race. Like, this is the only race that exists. Like, even the part-time teams come out here with the best parts and pieces that they can put to the table, which are all brand new. And everybody comes here, puts their best foot forward. So to come out here and qualify is one feat. And then you come out here and you win the race, you just done something that's so special that can never be taken away from you. And you sit a part of history that you want to be a part of, that makes this sport what it is.
Something that also adds on to it, they talked about Proc with Cornwall Tools having the event sponsorship. You as well get to share that same kind of feeling because of the fact that your sponsor is on the marquee for the entire track itself. How cool is that to get to come to a track that's called Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park?
That's what makes it so special, because Forrest, Charlotte, Morgan, and the whole entire Lucas family, they always believe in the sport, and they put their blood, heart, and soul in this sport to help get what it is, and they always start with the small people, which is the sportsman people, and they give their all to them, and that's where we all came from. My family were sportsman racers, and to be at the top level of the sport and to be a part of Lucas Oil is a huge honor of mine, and I love the family to death, and I love what they do for the sport, and it's an honor for me to be part of their flagship.
Last question. Last year when you came to this event, you were running for a championship. You're one of the top dogs. We head into Gainesville. You seem to have that same kind of momentum, and then since then it just really hasn't gone that same way. We know that Mark Oswald isn't here. There's the changes with the tuning, not having the canard wings on the side. What has it been about this season that just hasn't gone the same way? Were you able to keep the momentum that you had in 2024?
Well, one thing is that we've been running different stuff and trying different stuff, and we've been working on packages to make our stuff better. We could run the same as we did last year, but you got to run at a different level this year. And our main deal is not just to run quick, which we can run just as fast as anybody or quick as anybody out here, but to do on a consistent basis. And that's what we've been pushing and striving for, and we've been pushing the envelope. And the box has been moving, but we're getting really, really close zeroing in on it. And I think we're going to come together at the right time. And that's the game plan.
And does it help the case, too, that now, after this event, it's a clean slate, you get reset, and you get another shot at trying to chase down Tony and Sean?
Oh, absolutely, where everybody's going to be neck and neck. But the thing about it is not just Tony and Sean. Everybody better be watching out for Doug Coletta. He's the one that's on fire. So they're at the points lead, but the thing about it is you got 6 races to win a championship. And we've been there before. We know what it takes, and we're going to be coming. We're going to give it everything we got.